Out of all the cast from the DC shows that you haven't worked with, who would you like to work with most?
Supergirl. Yeah. I think it'd be fun to see all the female superheroes on all 4 of the shows just team up and like whoop butt. I think that would be a good episode.
I also want to get between the Prison Break brothers on Legends of Tomorrow.
Whoa, that's dirty.
I just want to like
Willa. Oh my gosh.
No, not like that. Come on, guys. Clean minds. PG-13, rated R, NC-17. That's my brain. That's fine. Yeah, no, probably that.
Hi, ladies. Firstly, I'd just like to say thank you because I feel because of Arrow's success, we have all these great shows on TV. So, just like to say, huge congratulations on doing such a great job.
Thank you.
What I'd like to ask is, I've noticed in Arrow it's changed quite a lot, the tone. So from season 1 and 2 it's really serious, but I think from season 3 onwards it's really turned into more like fantasy, like like with Flash, she was a supernatural element. So like, what do you feel about the tone shifting? Do you agree with it? Do you like it? I mean,
I think that our show is like an onion, and every season you open a whole new layer to the onion. And it's not like we can't be deep, dark, and depressing, because let's face it, we can be. The season finale was a beautiful proof of that. But I think that, through the evolution of our characters and some of them going through personal growth as well as emotional growth, like how Oliver has Felicity and is now settled down, I think there's just that natural evolution of it, things becoming a little lighter until they're not anymore, which is a huge possibility. Things happen on Arrow that aren't necessarily good for the characters.
I also think it's really cool because one of the cool things about the Green Arrow versus a lot of the other superheroes out there is that he doesn't have any supernatural powers.
Yeah.
So the cool thing about having the metahumans get involved, which does turn it into a little bit more like supernatural, like fantastic kind of show, is that the Green Arrow, he basically outsmarts them all in the comics. So it's really fun to see him finally get to do that and be like, you have superpowers, I don't, how do I outsmart you? So I think that's a really cool element that gets introduced.
Agreed.
So my question is that, season 5, I heard you were going to do, would that be the last season? Because obviously Oliver spent 5 years on the island, so would that mean it's his 5th, flashback year of that season as it shows?
I don't think the show is going anywhere anytime soon. I can't necessarily confirm or deny that, but I can say from your guys' response as well as the network's response to our show and the creation of all the others that are, interlocked into each other, it's kind of going to be a never-ending cycle for a little while. I don't think anything's going to happen anytime soon like that.
Season 4, the team broke up and disbanded. What do you think is going to be the next big bad, and how do you think the team is going to get back together?
Well, I actually just heard a rumor or maybe a true comment about who our next big bad was, and that's actually the first time I've heard it today, was that the character may or may not be named James?
James.
So whoever's in the crowd named James, come out and fight me, bro. Mm-hmm. But no, I take that back. Don't. You'll break me like a twig. But for season 5, I think the team in its own right has gone through these moments where Oliver left and we were left to kind of fend for ourselves and figure out our own place in the team. But I think that now we're at this moment where we're all trying to figure out our own place in ourselves and in our own lives, because everything kind of got a little disbanded since Damien Dark. And it's not like we're not going to be back together. I think that you're going to see a reuniting front moment probably sooner than you think, as well as each of us, we're just maxing and relaxing on a cool island right now. I need some R&R. How much have I learned and trained for the archery? Right before I got to actually pick up the bow, I think I had a good they actually gave me warning, guys, which is really rare in our show. They gave me a good 6 months warning, and they set up a whole bunch of archery classes with our main archery coach, Patricia, and I nailed my first bullseye first day, 7th try. Boom. I'm pretty good at shooting a bow and arrow. I can take pride in actually saying that. So yeah, you know, that skill's actually a real skill now, which is cool to be able to say.
Yes, who wants to be the guinea pig?
Who's got an apple and who wants to wear it on their head?
I actually did all of my training with the bow and arrow on Spartacus. So
Yeah, she knows what she's doing far before I did. So, you know.
Yeah, on
she's
Sparty
like
they were really cool though, because on arrow you're not actually allowed to shoot an arrow because it's compound bow and it will murder somebody. And they care about those things. But on Spartacus, they didn't care. And I actually got $5 anytime I ever hit the camera or a cameraman.
Cool. I want to play that game.
Just out of curiosity, how much money did you make?
Well, in one day I made $10, which was pretty good because I wasn't supposed to be hitting them, so that meant I was like aiming that way and they were there, and I was like, whoops. But I never got my money.
You need to call them about that, girl.
I know.
Yeah.
Question for Katrina. So someone who loves Nissa, and she's one of my favourite characters, it's been great to see her kind of go from somebody from Sarah's past to very much sort of being a friend of Laurel's, and then sort of her part in season 4 as well. But I did notice that like occasionally in season 4 it kind of seems like has seems to be like more closure. So like her scene with Sarah in Legends, and some, you know, the League of Assassins being disbanded. But personally, if you were on season 5, where would you like to see Nissa go next? Either through like flashback or, you know, with Legends, if you were to do a season 2 of Legends, like.
Well, I think the scene that Katie Lotz and I want to do at some point in the future, and I know the writers have talked about it, is the scene where she and I first meet on the shores, where she washes up on the shores of Nanda Parbat, and kind of how I took her in, how she trained, introducing her to my father for the first time, how we fell in love in that entire backstory. So I know we would love to have that happen. But I think next season, if you know, my character comes back, and I don't know one way or another if she is, but I think it'd be really cool to interact more with the other women of Arrow as well, with Speedy and Thea and, you know, Felicity. So I think it'd be fun to have some really strong female scenes. One of the things we keep talking about is how great our show is for the female characters. And the writers have done such a great job. I mean, her character is a prime example, going from a little schoolgirl to like this powerhouse of a woman who can hold her own, whereas before she was this, you know, little girl who was a victim and couldn't really take care of herself. So to see that development and growth, and same thing with Katie Cassidy with the Black Canary, to go from a lawyer who had all these issues to going to the Black Canary who was fighting and defending her city and fighting for freedom and justice and everything. The writers do a great job on that show. So I really think it'd be fun to work with Willa and Emily. So I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, come hang out, girl.
Girl, you're cool.
Yeah.
What was the hardest scene to perform this season?
Definitely, without fail, the hardest scene to film this season was our last scene with Katie Cassidy. Especially everything in the hospital, all of that stuff, all those tears, everything that was emotional about that scene was 110% real. And it always is when it comes to us losing one of our limbs. I mean, that's what it feels like. And coming back to work after that was not easy either. But we love her, and she's coming back as Black Siren on The Flash, guys. It's not like she's going anywhere. Katie still works next door to me, so I'm fine. We're all good. We just, you know, it's never easy. It's the hardest part of working on these shows, is the progression that they choose to go in.
I think the hardest scene for me, it was more about physicality than actually the acting part of it, but it was the scene where Katie Cassidy's character walks in and she's basically like, Nissa, you need to give up the serum to save Thea's life. And I'm like, no. And then this is how I go over lines in my head. Blah, blah, blah. No. So basically, all of a sudden, or maybe it was with Oliver, I don't know, somebody was there. And then all of a sudden, the league, no, it was Malcolm. Basically, he's like tricking me into doing something. And then like my people are there, and then his people come running in, and we have this like fight scene. But we were in this warehouse, which was really dark and it was cold, and every time we breathed, you could see our breath in the air. But they decided to wet down all of the concrete. They do this to you guys constantly.
Yeah.
They soaked the entire thing. So anytime a member of the League of the Assassins came running in, no matter what side they were on, they skid to a stop. And it took them, our stunt guys are so good that they kind of figured out how to skid to a stop, like where they needed to start skidding. But the first 3 or 4 times, they just kept taking each other out. Because I was supposed to fight this one guy, and he starts sliding, and I'm like, oh, he's not stopping. And he just like took me out like a bowling pin. I was like, whoa. Really? And then the best part is Katie Cassidy, I love her so much, but she is like one of those people that gives 110%. So if you're like, give more, it is 200%. But she's wearing 3-inch heels on wet concrete, and they're just like, swing harder. So we're all watching behind the monitor, and it's this epic scene. So she goes to swing, and all of a sudden, she's no longer in the frame because she just totally ate it. And you just hear this cackle of laughter as she's now on the ground soaked because her feet went out from underneath of her. So that entire day, it was just people just dropping like flies all over the place. And they're like, but it looks really good. Like, okay. So that was that.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is all we have time for. Please give a massive round of applause to our 2 stars from Arrow, Willa Holland and the brilliant Katrina Law.